All right.
You're live.
We are live, everyone. It's just me today.
I'm just gonna go tweak my Rumble, and it's all yours, Jared.
All right. There's no Holly today, and we're doing a quick, just a little 1 hour show. So welcome to Political Head Trauma, where if Head Trauma have a podcast, it'd sound just like this. We got Dwayne's around and about, and Holly's not here. She just barely got back from the RNC, and they got in late. So she's burnt out. She's wiped out, and she pulled an all-nighter to get to the airport, or did all that stuff. So it's just me. So we're going to chat a little fun, chat a little talk, maybe chat a little not fun. We'll see how that goes. While we do that, I will, it's a range weekend, which is why we're only running a 1 hour show, because I am out there instructing today, and got to get it done. Got to get the sharing done, humana, go through all the stuff and the steps. I don't know how many people will be joining us tonight, because everyone that normally watches, except for Sherry. Sherry, good to see you. Glad Holly's home. We're happy with that. Everyone that normally comes on and comments is out instructing with me. So, yeah. I guess maybe we should talk about the attempt on Donald Trump. Crazy. How do I put this? Sorry, got to do all these sharing. Take me 2 minutes. Bear with me. Almost there. Almost there. Okay. So,
the conspiracy theory of all conspiracy theories.
Yeah, let's you and me chat about that.
Well, I can for a few minutes, and then I gotta run off and go have dinner. But
perfect.
Yeah, it's quite a story, isn't it?
What is going on there?
I don't know. Here I'm just going to give you a little perspective. I was 9 years old when Kennedy was assassinated, and then of course I was a lot older when the assassination attempt went on with Reagan
in 81.
But when I was a kid, I thought, if they can't protect the president, how are they going to protect me? So the upshot of that is nobody's coming to save me. I'm going to have to be responsible for my own self.
Yeah. I can dig that notion.
So
it's like, no, we're not pulling
the
up
little
live.
Joke is I carry a cop because I carry a gun because the cop's too heavy.
Well, let me tell you a story. So we're up there at the range day, and we've gone over what the range day is, but we go over avoidance. That's the first part of every class. How to avoid confrontation.
Last thing you want to do is get in a gunfight.
Yeah. I mean, talk about ruining your day. Well, one guy's phone pocket dialed 911. So the sheriff shows up. Everyone okay? So everyone pulls their phone out, and one guy's phone in his pocket, must have hit the emergency button. But yeah, it's good. We haven't fired any shots when I left. They've shot by now, but the first day you spend the whole time just going through kind of going through the motions of everything. How to avoid it, and then what to do when you have to draw, the step-by-step stuff. If anyone's ever been through a pistol course or anything like that, you recognize that. But anyway, so that's where we were at when I left. But it's crazy. So he's up there giving a talk. Some guy with the last name Crook opts to go in and take a shot at him. The hard part is that it seems like either it's the ultimate failure of the protective institutions. That one's just that one's ridiculous. The Kennedy one, moving target. There was lots of bad decisions made there also. Let's not pretend there weren't. To put him in an open top car.
Put him in an open top. Well, they back in those days, they weren't afraid of that stuff. And
they weren't.
It changed the narrative.
But this one was totally controlled. They only had to watch, I think if they were to look at it at most, 5 or 6 elevated positions. And they missed a big one.
Seemed too easy to me.
Yeah. You know, it seems like if you wanted to think conspiracy about it, it would be awful easy to let your mind go, oh.
Well, and they had recognized the guy earlier on, and he came in with a rangefinder. I mean, all of this stuff is coming out, and it's like, what the heck?
And they're saying that the room he was in was, or the building he was on, was a building that was housing some of the security personnel, whether it was law enforcement or Secret Service. They're arguing back and forth on that.
You'd have thought they'd have heard him crawling around on that tin roof, wouldn't you?
Seriously. And the one police officer goes out there. Oh, look, there's a ladder here, climbs up there.
There's a man with a gun.
And he points his rifle at him. So the police officer backs off. But why didn't they have like a general radio connection so that they could go, you know, someone's on the roof?
Well, you'd have thought that the cop that saw him will back down and get off there, do something.
Yeah.
What are you doing up there? And then, you know, draw a service weapon and say, you better get down. I don't know. It's just a mysterious story.
Seriously, it's insane.
It's
mysterious. Here's the big question on that. Had they how do I want to put this? Had it been successful, what would our world look like then?
Yeah.
I mean, would the nation be thrown into like total chaos?
Well, but that's coming anyway. From my perspective, my humble opinion,
it feels like it.
If Biden, if he's still in there, wins, we have disaster. If Trump wins, we have a disaster. Either way, you know. And then it just makes my head spin, Jared. My head just spins. Seriously.
Well, here's a question. So let's say Biden wins. Fishy or not, we're not going to argue about that. Let's say he wins. Do you think that the conservatives are inoculated to that, and so they think to themselves, okay, yeah, we expected this? Or do you think the conservatives go crazy?
I don't know. All I know is things are not going to be pretty no matter what the outcome, and I may just find myself a little defensible canyon up in Idaho.
Well, if Trump wins, we know that the left is going to kick off.
They're going to explode.
They did last time he won in 2016.
Yes.
Remember, they kicked off and burned half of DC to the ground.
Well, DC was just the start.
No one talks about that, but they literally lit DC on fire.
They set fire to the church across from the White House.
That they did in 5/29 of 18.
Was it 18?
Yeah, but 2016 inauguration day. Remember, they had that story where he burnt down where they burnt that limo to the ground, and the story was They did this to a poor immigrant because the limo owner was an immigrant.
Yeah. They don't care. That's they didn't know who he was. And it was just a limo, and they burn it. They set fire to it.
Yeah, no.
They really like torching cop cars. I don't know why, but that's
yeah. It feels like no matter what, the left is going to pop off.
Well, yes, probably. That would be my opinion too. Yeah.
It just feels like it. Let's do a real quick sound check. So we got, coming on tonight, we got Michelle Quinn. She's running for Utah Attorney General. I'm excited to have her on.
Okay.
And I'm excited. Yeah, it'll be I don't think she's a Republican, although I've heard that she was a Republican at one time. But if she is, she's progressive Republican from what I hear. But I don't know.
Well,
Haven't met
I
her
was
yet.
a Republican at one time too, but
Who was?
I was at one time.
Yeah. You know what? I technically was a Republican as well, and then I became this independent animal I am because I don't think a party is available to save us.
No, it is not.
I don't think they can. It's weird. We've moved to a place where all the machinations are towards gaining more power for one or other of the parties.
One or other or both. I mean, there are
people
who call it the uniparty. They're all in cahoots. So
it does seem like they work together so that they win.
Well,
let's just say if you go to a football game, your favorite football game, your favorite team, the political parties are the refs. They always win.
They always win. Yeah.
Yep. The refs never lose. But I don't know.
Well, and I try to think about all of this political stuff, and really I'm a libertarian. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to say, well, I'm a libertarian, but I'm a small L libertarian because I draw the line at anarchy. I mean, the eventual goal of libertarianism is no government whatsoever.
Yep, and that's who I am. I'm one of those who does the shopping cart test.
Well,
that's what I want.
That's a great test, yeah.
But we can't have it. In my life, I know I would function fine without a government.
Yeah.
It's all the other people around me who can't function without a government.
And I used to say that, well, I have to draw the line at anarchy, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a small L libertarian. We need some government. You can't just, like the shopping cart theory doesn't work. But I look around and I see anarchy. So I'm going, what's the difference? There's anarchy everywhere.
And
that's why I had to leave the city. I had to leave LA.
It's state fostered.
Yes.
The state right now fosters the Democrats especially foster this level of chaos and anarchy so you will run to them.
You have to go to them for protection. I go, nope.
So they'll gain more control. I mean, they're
not protecting me. They're not protecting me. So, so anarchy. So libertarian. I'm raising my hand. Libertarian.
Yeah, and that's what I am. And that's where like you look at that border bill that they were trying to push so that Biden could save face. And the left right now, their argument is, why did Trump stop that? Okay, that's a fairly reasonable question. But why did Biden have to have a big spending bill to make it to where Trump had it?
Well,
without the spending, Trump had it. Trump had achieved that without running us into debt or robbing us blind.
Well, and it wasn't really, didn't close the border. It just slowed it down.
Mm-hmm.
And really the goal is close it. And even that's not a libertarian concept. People should be able to go and do whatever they want. We shouldn't have these borders. But, it's pretty ugly out there without a border.
I would argue if you have a pure libertarian, if you have a negative rights government or negative rights focused government, you don't need a border, because a government such as that offers zero services.
That's right. The thing that attracts a lot of these people is government services.
I mean, if anything, let's say you live in Mexico, just the ability to send your kids to an American school, as bottom of the barrel as most of our schools right now, it's still better than the average school the average Mexican child would get into. So of course,
when I lived in Southern California, I would say, I've been to Mexico. I've been all over Mexico. If I was in Mexico and I were Hispanic and I were Mexican, first thing I'd want to do is get across that border into the United States. You cannot blame these people.
No.
But then when you start letting in, people who are drug dealers, and you bring in guns, and there's human trafficking, you got to do something about that.
Yeah. Well, the guns go the other way, as Obama showed us.
Yes,
the drugs,
the
drugs, that's our problem. And the reason that we have our drug problem runs coefficient to our deaths of despair problem.
Yes. Not only that, but a drug problem is demand side economics. Okay.
Yes.
And so it just comes in because there's money involved. Okay.
Seriously,
if you get the money out of it, there would be no problem. And that's another libertarian thing. Somebody wants to take drugs, let them take drugs. I just happen to know that that's not a good thing because I'm a former drug alcoholic. So I know it's not good, but regardless, libertarian would just say, you want to drink? You go right ahead.
They're going to do it. I think the libertarians want to attack it on this confuses people when you say the negative side.
Yeah.
But negative rights are rights that you attain for yourself. Now, where our government has overregulated the environment and made it so that companies don't just pop up and grow everywhere, of course, you're going to have people who are in despair.
Yep.
There's certain places where there are no jobs that pay the living wage. There's certain places that just don't have that available everywhere. The competitive market, and people can't either start their own business to do that easy. They have to jump through a whole bunch of regulatory hoops. I mean, there's a reason India if India drops its overregulation, I believe it would be the world economic power, because it's got so many people, so much drive for innovation. It's got a diverse, it's a diverse monoculture.
Yes, it's a monoculture.
But it's highly diverse. I mean, you have different caste systems. And if they drop the caste system and their overregulation, just look up one day what it takes to start a business in India.
Oh, man. That's why they come here.
And here's the sad fact. It's easier to start a business in China than it is to start a business in the US right now.
Yeah, well, regulations. Well, but you got to be a member of the Communist Party to have a business in China.
All you got to do is sign up. That's it. Seriously.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's all you got to do. So
some of the richest people in the world are from China.
They've made the most billionaires that's ever been seen. Of course, that's all the direct politically connected. I mean, it's the same thing Russia did when it collapsed.
Yes, same thing that happened. Well, the oligarchs took over. Yeah.
Well, the colonels, the generals, the majors, the KGB agents, all that.
Yeah,
they took control. I mean, I know a lot of people, have good things.
And
yep, there's the guest.
Perfect, because I gotta go.
All right, hey,
always great talking to you. Always.
Everyone, say hi to Dwayne, and thanks, Dwayne. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.
All right, now Dwayne should be out of here. I keep turning it back on. Okay, everyone, we have Michelle.
Hi.
How are you, Michelle? And your last name is Quist. Am I correct? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Okay, we have Michelle Quist, and she is running to be the Attorney General of the great state of Utah. And we're just going to pick her brain. We're going to take about an hour and find out who she is, where she's from, what she plans on doing, you know, if she likes to skydive or whatever, you know.
I don't jump out of helicopters.
No jumping out of helicopters. Helicopters, like you'd think you'd want to fall out of. I think jumping out of a helicopter might get a little questionable.
I don't jump out of them, or I don't shoot hogs out of them. We'll just put that out there for now.
That I would really enjoy to do, shooting hogs out of them. I have shot out of helicopters. I was a military type police sniper at one time, and
awesome.
We did it for fun, and it is very hard to do.
I'm sure.
Helicopters are not they're not stable. But anyway, so Michelle, you're running for AG.
Yep.
Tell us about your goals. What do you what's motivating you to run? Are you running under a party, first of all?
Yeah, I'm running with the United Utah Party. It's
okay.
Third party in Utah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I know who they are.
Good.
Couple of good guys, couple of dissident libertarians like myself, and then kind of people who haven't found a political home. So it's kind of a good catch-all.
Or they've chosen not to home with the parties that are out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So running AG.
Yeah.
United Utah Party. Tell us a little bit about your motivations.
Yeah, I'm tired of the decades of scandal in office.
What? But would the AG's office function with? Okay,
I think it should.
Let's
experiment.
Let's see what it looks like. So, what kind of scandals have you really have your heart burn?
Well, just the idea that an attorney general wouldn't prosecute certain people because they're close to the people, or they're close to the situation, or that offends me as an attorney in the state.
Are you talking about the Ballard incident?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, as an attorney general, what would the prosecution for Utah be towards Ballard?
Well, I don't know, right? There were a few allegations. There were, various allegations. There were allegations that, the office was misusing funds, federal funds that were sent in for task forces. There were allegations that Tim Ballard was mistreating people. There were allegations that Tim Ballard was, using the OUR as a front for other things and misrepresenting what he was doing on a broad scale and in the state. There were just allegations, and they were sent to the office to be investigated, and then they weren't investigated. And I think that's wrong.
No, I'm not going to call you wrong on this. I know Ballard is wrapped up with a couple of allegations. And in my mind, I'm wondering which of those I would want to rise to a point to where my state would spend money on those, because like federal funds being misused, I would think that the Fed should spend the money on that. The allegations of mistreatment, I think that should be handled on a lower court, at least initially. And, especially if that mistreatment was done outside of the state of Utah. But that's just me being protectionist over my money, because I don't like being robbed at gunpoint once a year. But if you're going to do it, don't waste it.
Sure. Sure, but the attorney general is there to protect Utah voters.
That is true, but I don't know, just my opinion, because I think Ballard should be investigated.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's a state AG's responsibility at this time, unless Ballard used state resources incorrectly. Then I believe that's when it's a state AG's job. But that's just me being tightwad.
Well, the issue isn't that the state AG should have investigated him. The issue is that the state AG has stepped in to protect him.
And that is also a problem, because then again, now my money's being spent to protect a private entity,
Right.
which again, he's hurting me in my tightwaddiness.
Right. No, you're correct. The county, these are criminal, most criminal investigations start at the county level. The state agency doesn't do a lot of criminal things. But as far as federal funds, talking about a lot of federal funds are used in the AG's office, especially in our task forces. One of our task forces is funded 70%. I don't quote me on the percentage, but a majority of one of our task forces at least is funded by federal dollars. So if those funds are being misused, then there's a problem.
Yeah, that's I would like to look into that and see kind of how obviously how that is being run. If it's being misused and whatever, I think we should definitely look into that. I mean, this is really the crux of my conversation with this. When OUR first came out and said we want to stop the child trafficking and all that, I was fully supportive. And then talked to a few people who had some things to say about it that made me kind of go, it made me feel like it was a showboaty thing. And those were like personal conversations I had with people. And I was like, oh, okay, you know. And then it goes deeper and you kind of get this feeling like it was a front in a lot of ways. And even if it did good things, it had a front attached to it. So I do understand that. And is it too much to ask for, you know, kind of a purist initiative on something good once, just one time?
Right. We have child trafficking issues. We don't need to go around the world to find child trafficking problems. We can stay right here and find them. And the Utah Attorney General should be doing just that, staying here in Utah and fixing child trafficking problems here in Utah. We don't need to go to Colombia.
I wouldn't argue against, if we have child trafficking here in the state. I think I don't know, is it too early to bring back a gallows? Is it too early?
Listen,
no, seriously. I'm anti death penalty. I don't like the death penalty.
I agree.
But if you're hurting kids, I can be swayed, you know, and it really wouldn't be hard. Like someone would kind of shrug and I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. Like anything else. But when you're out hurting kids, I don't know. I'm okay with that. But
this is my problem with the scandals and the distractions in the Attorney General's office. It's like baseball. When the umpire is part of the game, becomes part of the game with a bad call that he made, something happens. He's doing it wrong, right? You're not supposed to be part of the game. When the
sounds like you're talking about the NBA right now, though. Just saying that. I mean, Utah Jazz knows.
Any of it, yes. When you become part of the game because your calls are so bad, you're doing it wrong.
I agree.
In the headlines, when the AG's in the headlines, they're doing it wrong. The Attorney General job is supposed to be so boring that you don't even know who the Attorney General is. I just want an Attorney General who goes to work and does the legal work of the state. The biggest question I get on the campaign trail is, what does the Attorney General do? Why don't the people of Utah know what the Attorney General does? Because we haven't had an Attorney General for 3 administrations that's actually interested in doing the job, and going to work and going to the office and sitting there and doing legal work and leading, not actually doing the legal work, because they're they can, and they should have the experience to do so, but they're the leader of the office. They're leading the attorneys who are doing the actual legal work. They have to be present in the office. We haven't had an attorney general who's actually present in the office for years because they're too busy with the national partisan politics. That's why I'm running on a third-party platform, because I want to cut off the national partisan politics. Sean has been too distracted with the partisan politics to get the stuff done in the office. One example, he promised to fix the e-discovery systems in the office. E-discovery in litigation is what parties use to share information back and forth. They're required to share the information, the documents.
So that's like if the prosecution and the defense, before they go to court, they're supposed to share so they don't get a Brady violation or something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Or in a civil case, when it's just parties and it's not in a criminal matter, when it's parties going back and forth, you have to share your emails that you've sent that are about the case, or the documents that you have that are about the case. So you have to search through all of your electronic files and find the ones that are relevant, right? So it could be through, you're up to searching through thousands and thousands and thousands of documents in e-files, and cull out the ones that are relevant. You have to know how to do that. You have to have the tech to do so. It's hard, right? It's technologically advanced.
Are these like controlled documents where there are privacy, security issues involved?
Absolutely. You have
so
to,
you can't just use Chat GPT to dig it up.
No, I mean, well, law firms are doing that now in the first review, and then you have to go through the second view and take the privacy redactions and the confidentiality. It's all that. So in January, a court issued an opinion that said the AG's office e-discovery was so unreliable because what was the word they used? It was just wholly unreliable. And I forget the word they used. Just basically, law firms in the state are using AI to respond to discovery, and our state AG's office is pulling zip drives out of drawers and saying, here's the discovery, your honor, we found a zip drive full of documents, here you go, here's the responsive documents. And Sean was too busy going around the nation, filing the election lawsuits and shooting hogs out of helicopters, which is fun, but not relevant to the legal issues in the office, that he didn't update and modernize our e-discovery methods. And we end up looking embarrassed and looking like idiots in this, January opinion that came out. And my point is, if we are suing social media companies like we are, Meta, TikTok, you got to know that they are represented by AmLaw 100 law firms. And those firms are using AI in their discovery, just like Salt Lake Law Firm. My law firm uses AI in our discovery practices.
Are you not supposed to use AI? Hey, Madison, will you close that door and take Dozer with you?
As long as you have the proper protocols in place, you can use AI.
Okay, so
it's effective. I'm saying it's a good thing.
Yeah, I would think
we're so modern. We're using AI, and the AG's office is backwards because we're not
that doesn't
modernized.
surprise me. I mean,
it's embarrassing to me.
Well, theoretically it should be, but let's take this in perspective.
Okay.
You know what? can you name me some government successes?
In what environment?
Don't care.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know. Now there are some trade-offs, but there are no successes.
But that was a campaign promise.
Sure. Okay. Now we're talking real politics. Tell me more. Look, and I agree. My issue with Reyes is he did seem like he was kind of running around the nation a lot. And I say this all the time. I want to move to Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the governor of Wyoming's name is?
No.
I like that. You never hear about him on any news channel.
All right.
He's
I could Google it
radically
right now.
far right. And even MSNBC can't badmouth him. They would love to, but they go, who? Where is Wyoming? They don't know. I like that because I think that's how government should function, in the background.
And that's what I want the AG to be.
Mm-hmm.
In the background, out of the headlines.
I like that. That's a good idea.
And in order to do that, you got to cut off the RAGA funds, is my theory.
The what?
The Republican funds. The
Okay.
Republican Association of Attorney Generals.
And that comes because we have a Republican Attorney General?
Yeah.
Do the Democrats also have the same thing?
Yep.
Because let me say this right now. Here, a message for my Democrat friends out there. I know that there might be a Democrat listener sometime in the future. What you guys are doing in the lawfare cases is stupid.
Yep.
You would be better off baking him a cake, but you keep doing this. You're just making him look sympathetic. I don't vote, so I can say this stuff because, yeah, I don't vote. I think both parties are, one's an old ashy dog turd on the lawn and the other one's fresh and greasy, but they're both dog turds. But I mean, I don't know, but I agree with you on that. It does seem like we're in a clown world right now.
Yeah.
And it's a clown world ran by the political parties.
Well, and that's why I don't want the political parties in charge of our Attorney General's office anymore. I'm trying to cut off the Attorney General's office from both of the political parties and the bosses and the purse strings that control those parties, because I don't want that. First of all, the money that comes in from the association is not transparent. You don't know the donors. You don't know who's giving. It's just these huge lump sum amounts, and there's no way to know who's giving it. So it's non-transparent money. And second of all, by being a part of those associations and by receiving those funds and being part of, having those party bosses, you're told where to file amicus briefs, where to join cases, what states to file in, and it's not independent. And I want the Attorney General in Utah to be more independent, to get to decide when and where to file lawsuits, and to have a transparent donor list.
On that, a question. It's well known that there are certain courthouses that you seek out, certain districts and certain judges you seek out for partisan issues. Isn't that just an offshoot of that being the case? Like they feed each other, and if you do away with one, could we have major collapses because of the other, or do we have to do away with both at the same time? Do we have to make it so every courtroom's a panel of 3 randomly selected judges and I don't know, a judge umpire? How do we look? Our system is broken. Yes, it's the best system on earth, but it's broken. So how do we control for that? Because what happens if we start having cascading problems? What happens if the Republicans do away with that side, the Democrats keep it, and they keep pushing issues that are light assaults on the Bill of Rights?
Well, having an independent office doesn't mean that you can't prosecute those issues. It just means that the attorney general in Utah gets to decide. Those issues are still there, and the attorney general can still be just as aggressively going after those issues. And it doesn't mean that the Utah attorney general that I wouldn't aggressively go after those rights and issues. It just means that there's no party boss telling me to, and there's no non-transparent funder telling me to. And it brings in a little more healthy conflict into our one-party state.
Yeah, it is a one-party state, and one-party states have negative outcomes. That's for sure. I mean, I would argue if I had to live in a one-party state, I think right now with the political ideologies, a Republican Party state seems to be more functional than a Democrat Party state. I mean, there's a reason California is the 10th largest economy in the world, because it used to be the 5th, and the Democrats keep voting in radicalism. I mean, Washington, the whole West Coast is gone.
Right, but our system was meant to have healthy conflict.
Yeah, I agree. I believe me, I agree with you 100%. I think you need both push and pull. I'm just worried. I mean, on a deeper level, I think the whole party system needs to go.
Well, it certainly wasn't there at the founding, and none of the founders and all of the well, I shouldn't say all, those are very blanket statements.
Yeah.
Many of the founders feared the party system.
Well, one guy spoke out against it vociferously.
Yes.
George Washington spoke out heavy
in his closing, in his
farewell address.
Yeah, his farewell.
He also warned against standing armies. How'd we do on that one? Anyways, but it seems like while he was giving that address, the rest of the founding fathers were in Philadelphia starting the Federalist and anti-Federalist parties. So we are a contradiction.
Power corrupts.
And it's crazy. I've got my crazy, no, believe me, I'm a crazy person. At heart, I'm an anarchist. I'm an anarchist, 100%. I just know we can't have it because I've driven through inner city Walmart parking lots, and all these dumb people can't even put a shopping cart away. Well, those dumb people need police, and they need babysitters and nannies. They need that stuff. Yeah. Where me, I know how to put my shopping cart away. I know I could be one, but I can't have it because the rest of people went to public school. I don't know what the issue is, but
I went to public school and I put my cart away.
See, you broke out of it. See? Yeah, I went to public school too. But
and I have kids sitting in the car waiting for me.
Yeah. There's lots of ways you can get around that. One, you can make it a teaching moment for your kids. The whole family pushes the cart away. Lots of things. I also instruct a pistol course. I love it when females come to the course. It's a defensive pistol. That's what I'm off the mountain right now, out of the range right now to have this interview, heading right back right after it. And I want every woman in America who doesn't have a mental problem or a drug addiction to, if not come to my course, go to a course, carry a pistol, because I'd love it if the assault numbers went to 0.
Me too.
What if our legal system could focus on burglaries and never have to worry, that'd be such a rarity, Yeah, I know. SVU would go away because they do real life stories and they'd run out of stories. They'd have to start making stuff up. And it's a fairly good show, but What if we didn't have to worry about that? It's my opinion.
That'd be great.
But I do think, I wonder if it, I know we're off on a debate tangent and we're supposed to be talking more about you, but I'm going to grandstand again for a second. I wonder if, as our federal government keeps defederalizing and gathering more power to itself, it gets to where the parties carry more value on a national level, and the ideals of the states and the federalism keeps losing value. So that's why you end up with governors and AGs who consider it more important to look shiny when they go to DC than it is to look shiny in their home state capital.
I hope not.
Seems to be what's happening.
Well, that, or you just have AGs that are looking for the next thing. That just
Well, they
look
try
good.
looking shiny on the federal level.
Right. They're
Because that's the
using
one that
job.
counts.
They're using the job as a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't mind, but I would like them to
Mind it.
It'd be nice if they said, look how good I did in my state, not look what I did for the nation while I represented a state.
I mind it because it's not what Utah voters need in the end, because they're still always thinking about what is best for them later.
When I say I don't mind it, I mean, I expect people who break into politics to try to keep climbing that ladder. I do. I expect it. They're selecting a career path. They're leaving the private market and going to the mafia market, and they want to climb that career path. They want to become made men, you know? And so I expect that, but I want to see them, not to rag on California all night, but like, look at Newsom. Newsom right now can come out and say, look at me. I don't look like a lizard today. Look how good I am for the Democrat Party nationally. How's he doing for the state of California?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I mean, there's Republican governors you can point that out to as well. I mean, because everyone cares about the federal advantage, because the feds have absorbed power they weren't supposed to have.
Then we're picking the wrong leaders. We're still picking the wrong leaders.
Tell me more.
I mean, it's just what I just said. We're picking leaders that are using office as stepping stones, rather than those who are just genuinely trying to make a difference because it's the right thing to do.
I agree. I mean, seems to be where we are. So, okay, back to you. So tell me about some of the other stuff. Like, tell me about some of the nuts and bolts stuff you would want to pursue for the state of Utah.
Well, domestic violence is one of my policy initiatives.
Okay.
Really important to me. You know, in 2023, the legislature passed the lethality assessment protocol.
Tell me what that is.
It's somewhat of a checklist that law enforcement uses when they come up on a domestic violence call. So, you know, you can think of like the Gabby Petito call, the Gabby Petito case down in Moab, when law enforcement came up and evaluated that situation, and they ended up identifying the victim as the aggressor, right? They wanted to cite Gabby Petito because she allegedly hit Brian Laundrie, whatever his name was. Even though the call had come in earlier that someone had seen him hit her.
Was that little blonde girl that everyone TikToked about?
That was dead a month later.
Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call comes in. Somebody sees him hit her. Police come up on them. They're crying. She admits to maybe hitting him, and because of that, they want to cite her as the aggressor, but they don't. They separate them, but they don't do anything else. They don't follow up. A month later, she's dead from strangulation.
Yeah. How gotta
And
adjust
so
it.
and so the lethality assessment protocol now is more training and for law enforcement, and it's an assessment and kind of a checklist that allows the law enforcement to evaluate victims and aggressors and kind of go underneath the psychology of victimhood and assess really what's going on and if it's safe for the victim to stay there, and who has custody and where they can go, and all of these different factors of the situation.
And that would be a super tough case because they were both doing the van life thing at the time.
Yeah.
No, I get that, because she was probably a people pleaser, a very accommodating person. So he's over there being argumentative with the police. No, I didn't do that. No, I didn't do that. And she's over here and
Oh, you're probably right. Yeah.
and so yeah, that is a tough one. And it turns out that he is he's a kid from Florida. He killed her in Wyoming or Montana.
Yeah, in the Tetons.
Yeah, and then ran home to Florida and hung himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all coming back to me now.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. That's a good one. I'd like to so the AG's office, would they set protocols and then fund
the
that?
protocols are out there. I just want to make sure that the training is being done, that the law enforcement has all the resources that they need, that the law is being enforced as it needs to be, because we have there's a lot of rural counties in the state that are hard to get to. It's a big state, and not everybody has the same amount of resources and training, and things aren't all being done the same way. And so I just want to make sure that every county has the same amount of resources and training, and that we're doing things the way we're supposed to be doing.
And domestic violence is definitely the toughest call for law enforcement, because, I mean, you've got two parties there that have an affinity for each other. So you become the bad guy when you take action.
And it turned out in Moab that one of the officers that came to the call had his own domestic violence history.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's another question. I am supportive of law enforcement, but I often wonder, so me as just a private citizen, were I to have a domestic violence, I would not be allowed to purchase a firearm. Why is there law enforcement that have convicted domestic violence issues still allowed to carry on with their profession?
A lot of it goes swept under the rug. A lot of the hiring practices aren't consistent. A lot of the hiring is, like you're let go here, and then nothing is communicated to the next place that you go and get hired at. A lot of changes can be made, but it's an issue.
That's a question I have.
1 in 3 women. 1 in 3 women in Utah will experience some form of sexual violence, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner in her lifetime.
Well, I mean, it's, man, I wonder, look, okay, I'm going to argue both sides. One, I don't agree with someone getting a domestic violence charge when they're in their 20s, and that's something that haunts them when they're in their 40s. We need to figure out how to move people off criminal logs.
Have a great expungement program.
Yes.
There is a great expungement program.
Just or even go through processes and classes that you pay for, put some money into the state, dirtbag, and go through it. Figure something out like that. I want to see our felony convictions fall off. I have friends who are 20 years clean and packing a felony around with them forever. And I'm like, this person, not only is this person now clean, but this person is the cleanest. And they still got this felony that tracks them around. So we don't have a means of forgiveness on that side. Also, I kind of wonder if maybe on the domestic violence front, let's make it so it twilights out, but let's make the punishment harsher.
Well,
maybe
and those are legislative. Those are legislative issues.
I know they are. But that's just me dreaming. And again, I've always said this: don't let me anywhere near government. I'd be awful at it.
I don't know. You've got ideas. You can't be awful if you have ideas. You start with ideas and then you revise.
Should we name some other people in history who had ideas?
No.
Broseph Stalin.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Let's not. Mao Zedong had a lot of ideas, and he killed more people than anyone ever.
No.
I mean,
so domestic violence is important to me.
Yes.
I have 3 office priorities: talent, tech, and transparency. So for talent, we've talked about tech a little bit. I want to modernize our e-discovery.
I love it. Bringing tech in is outstanding.
Yeah.
It's probably why January's so tied into you. January connected us. January Walker. She's a very good friend of the show. Love her to death. She's awesome. She scares all of my ultra conservative friends because she talks about Bitcoin and blockchain and things like that. But I think it's unavoidable. I mean, let's at least get ahead of it before we have robot overlords. It's going to happen anyway. So
yeah, and the state should know should have relevant laws for it too that aren't over restrictive and the same kind of thing. It's the worst to be left behind. You have to know what's going on.
I agree. I agree. So the tech side.
Yeah. Talent. We have great lawyers in our attorney general's office. They have lacked leadership that is present in the office. We have a bunch of different divisions that don't have a clear vision, right? And then we train up our top leadership, our top attorneys, and then they leave the office, and then we turn around and we hire them back on a contract basis. That can't be good for our state budget. I don't understand why we do that. And at first, I know it's because we don't pay them enough and they want to go out and get paid more, but that's not good for our budget. And I don't understand why we would do that.
Yeah. How could you manage that? Could you try to raise their pay status or?
I mean, we could, and I know that the office did that recently because it was so low. It was so far below market value that there was an exodus from the office about 18 months ago. And then they did raise it substantially. There's still room for more. There's still room for a pay raise. But I don't know. The way to do it is not to hire them back.
Make it so that when they leave,
3 months after they leave on a contract basis. Make it so that they don't have a cushy job from us, that they can count on. That if they want to work for us, they have to work for us.
Yeah, our legal system is has a lot of room for improvements. I remember I was talking to Nathaniel, interviewing him, and he's a lawyer. Mm-hmm. He's running for CD2 Democrat, and right now our legal system works for people who have money.
Yeah.
And if you don't have money, you better
Really,
be
really
really
hard.
good at prayer.
Yeah.
Because
And luck.
I don't even know if luck gets you through it nowadays. Like you've got to be real. You're in trouble if you don't have money and you enter the legal system. So I asked him, I asked a person, a progressive, I asked him a question from the left. Here's the question. What if we capped lawyer pay? Made it a cap, made it this is, we'll lean in. I'm not a fan of FDR, but let's channel my inner FDR. I'll lay a quilted blanket over my legs. And what if we capped lawyers' income at a certain amount and even the board out that way? And he said that's something to think about. Now, is it something I necessarily agree with? No, I don't agree with it, but it is that something does have to be done for our legal system. And you're right. If we have the tech side would speed it up. That's one of our issues. If you get wrongly convicted of something, you're robbed at least a year before you get in front of someone who can undo that conviction. And, that's a crime in itself.
Yeah. And Utah has the sandbox, which is trying to use technology to increase access to justice for those who can't, who have low to moderate incomes. And the sandbox is a program that was started by the courts to allow different forms of law firms or ventures to allow attorneys and non-attorneys to work together to create services for legal services, to provide legal services, wherein typically ethical rules do not allow attorneys to partner with non-attorneys and share income. And so this program, this new program allowed these types of new ventures to create, to use technology and create these new ideas. And a lot of them are using AI to, provide legal services in a low income. They do forms, and a lot of it is debt relief or landlord tenant law. And so it's reaching that population in more of a formulaic way to provide legal services.
So not necessarily criminal actions, which I think is where we need to figure out.
Yeah, I don't know if any of the service providers in the program do offer for criminal providers. I just don't know. I know there's debt relief. I know there's landlord tenant. There might be some family law stuff. I don't know who all the providers are.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I like
It's,
that. I
it's
do
because
think
it's the AI is offering so many different so many other avenues of, providing other avenues. So.
You got a kid at the door?
Yep.
No, that's fine.
He's okay.
I'm very kid friendly. I think, well, I don't like people, but I get along with kids all right. They're pretty cool.
He came home from camp and he's not used to my door being locked.
His mom, let me in.
He goes to camp A. He has Down syndrome and he's my little baby.
So what camp does he go to? Is there like a summer camp?
Yeah, Camp Costopolis is up Emigration, and they do, they have kids. They do kids with disabilities.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Did he have fun?
He loves it. He gets to swim and ride on horses. And, yeah, he loves it. He has a good time.
That is good stuff.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that. I don't know. I get, that would be an ideal charity to start up is help out the poor people in court charity. There probably is something like that. That
Yep.
would make a good acronym, but I'd have to reword that.
And then my third one was the transparency, because it's just such an obvious no-brainer. You know, the public calendars, the hiring decisions for top executives in the office, the budgets for top executives, and just the easiest one, the statute relating to Attorney General office requires that the annual report be published by the end of the year. You know, and that's an easy transparency thing, to file it by the end of the year, and that shows what's going on in the Attorney General's office. Our Attorney General did not file this year by the end of by December 31st. I think it was filed in May or something. April, I forget the date. It was not filed by the end of. But transparency is such an important part of my campaign, because the office has lacked it for so long. And I think, and Utah voters have not trusted this office for so long. And I think transparency would really help bridge that gap.
Do you think it's, do you think maybe because you say they don't trust this office, yet they keep electing one direction?
I know.
Do you think it's because they're comfortable and they don't think the AG's office is, I guess, as threatening, as important to pour energy into? Because, I mean, let's face it, it's going to be a hard slog for you to get in there without having an R behind your name. And the second easiest way would be to have a D behind your name, because the corridor's starting to populate and they vote a lot more. But it's going to be a hard slog. And I think you're 100% correct. I think the party systems there have, well, okay, maybe one day I'll think of a place the party systems haven't let us down, but that is another particular place, maybe in the auditor's office.
But why should the auditor even be partisan?
Yeah, so that's where they haven't let it. Well, they shouldn't, but we keep fighting to make everything partisan. Pretty soon your dog catcher's going to be a partisan elected official in the state of Utah.
Well, like, think of the Trump trial in New York. The fact that we could undermine it was because this prosecutor was partisan. If the prosecutor wasn't partisan, we would have more faith in the process itself. My point.
I agree with you 1,000%.
Yeah. My point is, our prosecutors shouldn't be partisan. Let's start with the Attorney General.
No, that's a good idea. I think offices like that where legal judgments are made, the treasurer, attorney general, and the auditor, those are places where legal judgments are made. You know, like actual criminal convictions can get handed down through the work that they do directly. They shouldn't be partisan.
Yeah. Our judges aren't elected here in Utah.
Yeah. Believe me, Twilla's found that out a few times in its day, that our judges aren't elected. Anyways, no, I agree with you on that. I like that idea. And I love the technology idea. I mean, the big concern lawyers have to worry about right now, how long before a program replaces them in the courtroom? You know?
True. Yeah. Well, then you have AI in elections. Like, you know, we need to make sure that's being watched. And
now you're giving me a new nightmare.
Oh yeah, that's out
Actually,
there.
I don't vote. So honestly,
Vote.
Why?
Because it's engagement. If you don't vote, everybody else is voting. Your vote matters.
Let me lay it down like this.
Okay.
If I vote, win or lose, I'm saying I think the government is right. And I don't.
Or
Or
A vote for me is telling the Republican Party that you're dissatisfied with their stewardship over this office for the last 3 administrations.
okay.
It's also a vote for the best candidate on the ballot.
Well, I vote local. I always vote for my city and county.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So you're voting in November. You're saying you just don't vote top of the ticket?
Yeah, I don't vote beyond county and city. Just I haven't done it.
It's local. Politics is local.
Well, I'll tell you, the last time I voted for Bill Clinton. I was a private in the U.S. Army, and I voted for my commander in chief. Every time my dad hears this, it gives him indigestion. But everyone, did I tell you I was 18, 19 at the time? I mean, honestly, I had learned to wash behind my ears the day before. But and Bill Clinton, he did all right as president. He on the budget wise.
Yeah.
He just to talk about Bill Clinton, as much as everyone hates him, he actually did learn from he studied and learned from people that a Democrat nowadays would never study or learn from. I mean, he read Walter Williams and Thomas Sowell and what's that guy's name now that if I say his name we get canceled? Charles Murray. He studied and learned from them and implemented some of their ideas. And he said, I don't agree with these guys, but they make sense because they're not thinking emotionally, which, it's interesting to hear him when he talks about that. He was on an interview. It's wild. You're just like, man, if a Democrat said that today, the party would kick them out. If you mention any of those guys, you're done. But so, all right, technology. Oh, how to bring in talent. Have you thought about duct tape? I'm thinking they sit down at their desk and you just quickly make a few laps around them to their chair.
They're starving for good leadership. They want good leadership. They love their jobs. Being a government lawyer is a good gig.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to bill 2,200 hours.
Yeah.
As long as we can get the pay up to market, you get you get government hours. As long as you have a leader who is honest and ethical and cares about you, that's a good gig.
Is it possible? Is in the pay structure right now, is it possible to get the pay up to market?
I think so.
Or would you have to try to write a whole bunch of grants and stuff?
No, I think it should be. I mean, I haven't seen the budget, right? Like I haven't sat down with it, but I don't know. There's always house cleaning when you go in.
Yeah.
When someone new goes in.
That's a tough one because, I mean, when you hear how much the contractors make, oh, wow. That's pretty wild.
And I don't know why we're contracting out all of our big cases because we have really good attorneys in office.
Yeah. What cases is the actual state of Utah taking on lately? Can you think of any off the top of your head?
Every case you see in the news, the opinion that just came out about redistricting, that's AG's office. Every time that the state is sued, that's the Attorney General's office that represents the state.
Well, so is the AG's office there to defend the state in lawsuits? Yes. I mean, yes. Is there any cases that the AG's office is pursuing?
Oh, well, the AG's office just pursued to stop the new Title IX regs.
Okay.
And they won that. The AG's office does.
And what are your thoughts on that? That one's a contentious issue. Now's where you make or break with the audience.
I would not have filed that case.
No?
No.
What do you think about keeping the sports separate, male and female.
I would enforce the law as the legislature passes the laws.
Okay.
But I think there's more opportunity for the attorney general to engage with the public before unconstitutional laws or questionably constitutional laws are passed.
Ooh, here we go then.
Yeah.
Is Title IX constitutional?
Oh, well, you mean the changes to Title IX?
At all?
That's a whole different subject. I thought you were
I've got a
asking
constitution right over there. We can look in it and see if, it shall
If
be
it's
the
in-
place of the president to say how college sports are ran. Then
Yeah.
we have to fast forward to see if college is in there anywhere.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that's the whole like Supreme Court. I can't say. But
See
I'm talking
if-
about the bathroom bill.
Well, honestly, okay.
I'm
I'm-
saying I have a problem with the monies that are spent on pursuing and defending all of these cases that the legislature, because of the bills that the legislature passes that are questionably constitutional. So not Title IX, I'm talking about the bathroom bill. So the
Okay.
legislature passed the bathroom bill.
Tell me about the bathroom bill.
So the bathroom bill, questionably constitutional. We knew it would get, we knew we would be sued over it. And the legislature.
What
knew
was
they
the
would be sued
bathroom
over it.
bill?
Oh, the bathroom bill said that it defined gender so that transgender individuals could not go in a bathroom of their they had to go in bathrooms of their gender at birth.
See, I think that we're going to find out in 10 years the damage we've done to kids.
Right.
We're going to find out some damage.
But
We're gonna
my
see-
point,
We're going to see lots of cases in the news of family annihilations, and we're already seeing them.
and my
but-
point is the attorney general has been quiet and silent on
Yeah.
all of this.
But I kind of agree with them on that because, do I want a legislation that says, do I want to write a law that one, you have to be a weirdo to enforce, right?
You have to be a weirdo to enforce?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Do I? Okay. So you have to use the bathroom of your birth assignment. So let's say a young lady decides to become a young man, 14 maybe, wearing basketball shorts and the hat's on sideways and the shirt is too big or skinny jeans, whatever. I don't know how young men dress nowadays. But because of that, this young lady dressed as a boy, possibly looks like a boy, all evidence is showing a boy, wanders into the young lady's bathroom. How's the outcome of that morning?
Well, they would go into the stall and just use the bathroom and then
Sure.
leave the bathroom.
I'm just saying that we're at the mall, right? We're at the mall. I'm getting my Haagen-Dazs. You're getting your
Yeah.
creamsicle soda, whatever, right? Bathroom full of 14-year-old girls. And in walks a presenting 14-year-old boy.
Oh, right.
You see what I'm
Totally a
saying?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, I know. I mean, it's
How
not
do
a
you
government building, so that it doesn't apply to the bathroom.
even then?
but-
Okay, we're in a school.
Yeah,
we're
no, I
in-
know.
We're in a school that doesn't have any of these transgenders going on,
Single bathroom.
but it's a football game. So the visiting team's there who has a group of 3 young ladies that now dress like young boys. They wander into the girls' bathroom. You hear the squeals of the cheerleaders, everyone thinking it's a one situation when it's not.
Right.
How do you? So
No, I
that's why.
know.
That's why I think Biden set a landmine or minefield and then turned around and walked back through it. I'm like, what are you doing? Like that's something. If they handed me a 10-foot pole and said, "Will you poke that up?" No, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
But the
I'm not-
opportunity was to engage before the bathroom bill was passed. So the public could engage more with the legislature. The opportunity was for the attorney general, the top law enforcement officer in the state, to say, these are all the things that could happen. Title IX funds could be at risk. This could happen. This could happen. Airports could be at risk. Blah, blah, blah could be at risk. These are all the things that could happen. This is how much money we're going to spend defending the lawsuits. These are all the things that are going to happen. As the top law enforcement officer, this is what I'm going to have to do to defend this law if the legislature passes this public. Now you can go talk to the legislature about what you think about the law.
Yeah. Or he could just say, how do you want this enforced? Seriously, how do you enforce it?
He has to enforce it.
How do you enforce something like that?
I don't know.
It's
so bad.
How do you enforce it? Do you have
what's her name?
An Adam's apple?
Her name enforce it. Make the legislator enforce it.
I don't know, but either way. Now I'm going to say this outright.
They find the school. That's how they enforce it.
I'm going to say this outright. The damage that has been done from the cultural Marxization of our teachers is unparalleled. And this is all a part of that. This is something I'm telling you, we're going to be chewing on this in 20 years. And they're going to write about this like in the history books. They're going to think we are crazy. They are. And I'm not anti-LGBT, whatever, but they're going to be like, you let them do what? You know what? Better option. Put everyone in the exact same school uniform. Everyone. You can wear blue shorts, white polo shirt, boy or girl, don't care. And then you just have those French style bathrooms with stalls and one sink. That'd be a much better option. But that still introduces more problems. You're just introducing more opportunities for hazard. That's what happens when a school security guard roughs up a little teenage transgender boy in the girls' bathroom over this.
Not good.
How do you deal with that?
Not good.
Does the AG's office now take on that case? Or does the security guard just get washed out? Which is probably what will happen. Let's face it. The lambs are made to be sacrificed, and that is a sacrificial lamb. No, I agree with you on that one. But, that Title IX one. No, that just, I don't know. I hope I live long enough to read what the history books write about this time. Look at the study that came out of England. They finally got a non-biased person on it, and he went, "We did what? Oh, okay." And all of a sudden, everyone else is shutting that crap down. They're turning that spigot right off because that's just a whole bunch of hazard.
I just want an attorney general willing to stand up here in the state and say, just willing to stand up and say what's right and engage with the people, even when it's might not be for the benefit of her career.
I like how you threw the her in there. It's a good subliminal message there. No, I agree. I would like to see that too. I'd like to see someone take on the job as the legal shield for the state. That'd be good. Yeah. We do have some comments here. If you're willing to Sit through them.
Sure.
FJB, enough said. Life in Cali, that was Zesty Zuzu. Life in Cali says President Trump will win. And
Okay.
after last Saturday, I think there's almost no question about that. That kid, that atrocious action. I don't know. I hope this is a wake-up call for everyone thinking partisanly in the country to say, wait a minute. Everyone right now, everyone go get Jonathan Haidt's The Righteous Mind and read it. So at least you understand the people on the other side of you and understand that they're all meaning well. They have their mind thinks different than yours about what they mean.
Yeah.
So they're not bad. I mean, they think their thoughts are they're good.
Yep.
Jeff Adamson. Jeff says the answer is more states' rights and much less federal infringement. If there is no federal arm twisting, then states can deal with what's important to citizens of that state. And I'm 100%. I'm a big 10th Amendment guy. I think if we want this nation to last another 40 years, there's two routes. We can lean on the 10th Amendment, and I think we'd eke another 100 years out of this country. Or we're going to have a Caesar moment. We need to, there'll be stories written about whatever his name is crossing the Delaware or whatever, the Mississippi, because that's where we're headed, because you keep having these large federal grabs. I mean, our founding fathers were genius when they set up a dream where you could have 13, now 50 little petri dishes that you could move somewhere where you fit in best and mold that to that place. And then someone else could move somewhere where they fit in. And so you could remain a nation and still live your way of life that comforted you more. And the big question on that is obviously right now the abortion question. And I think the decision made by the Supreme Court to throw it to the 10th Amendment is the correct decision. So let states decide.
Let it stay there. Yeah, I agree.
Leave it in the states. Don't try to federalize it. Leave it in the states. I mean, me personally, I'm pro-life. I would like to see a state that says, ideally, if I were to lay out my ideal design on how abortions would be handled, it'd be abortions are a private act only. The states will offer no subsidization, no funding, anything else. That way you pro-life people don't have to spend any of your money on something that you feel is a mortal sin, and it's a completely private thing. The state's not going to pay for the land, not going to subsidize it, none of that. And then, let it be what it is. But we can't have that. And some people want to go further than me and make it completely illegal. And I understand their drive for that. And some people want to leave it wide open. And I understand their drive for that. And the hard part is yeah, how do you maintain civility when the separations on an issue of that importance is so distinct? So I choose to shoot the middle and leave them out. But anyways, all right, those are the comments for right now. Didn't have it.
Good comments.
Yeah, they were pretty good. It's going to be interesting. What do you think's going to happen after this election? Do you think we're going to see political strife?
Yeah.
Sad to say, I think so too. 2016, we saw a lot of violence in DC. Then obviously 2020 had its own flavor. All of Trump's presidency was a violent matter. They don't talk about it, but remember when they stormed the White House?
Riots. Yep.
Yeah, they stormed the White House. They lit that church of whoever
right
on
in
fire.
front. Yeah. They used riot gear every time there were demonstrators. Yep.
There were 74 police, 74 or 34. I don't know. I'm making up numbers here, guys, but there was like multiple dozens of police officers injured that day. That and you don't hear about it. It got shuffled under the rug. And then of course you've got January 6th, which is the day that will live in infamy. I mean, it was worse than, Ground Zero Nagasaki or whatever. But, it's, I don't know. I don't know how we make it. I've mentioned on this show before.
Stay local.
Yeah, vote local. And don't go to cities. I don't go anywhere near cities unless I have to. Amazon's invented. I no longer need to go to even Salt Lake. But yeah. All right. Anything else you want to cover before I cut you loose? And I want to chat with you again.
That'd be
been
great.
A great conversation.
Yeah, I'd love it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, anytime. So take us where you want to take us.
I just, I think you should vote.
Okay.
I think it's really important that people remember that the office, it doesn't make sense to have an attorney general that is partisan. And so a vote for a different type of candidate would reform that office to a nonpartisan office. It would send.
Yet the United Utah Party is kind of an anti-party party.
Yeah, it's principle based and not policy based. And that principle is a good government and transparency. And that's why I thought it would be perfect to host the Attorney General.
Okay.
So reform the office, and a vote for me would send a message to the party who's had stewardship over this office that they're not happy with that stewardship. And a vote for me would be a vote for the best candidate on the ballot. We can talk about that next time if you want.
Sweet. And also a super friendly lady.
Awesome. You too. Thanks.
Yeah. No, it's been a great conversation. Obviously, I wish you the best. Do you have any events coming up or anything else that you can draw people into to chat with them?
Absolutely. My website is michelleforutah.com.
I'm going to put that on the screen right now.
Great. My next event is the Highland Parade on August 3rd. And in August 10th, I'll be in Alpine. And then we're going to hit Midway, and Heber will be down on Labor Day. We'll be in Parowan, and we'll be up in Brigham City on the 7th. We're going to go up to an Ogden Farmers Day. So just check out my website and you can see all those events, and would love to see people.
Okay. So we got some Midway, Heber, Parowan.
Yep. Scroll down a little more and you
look at that lovely family. How many kids do you have?
I have 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a good looking family too.
They're good kids.
Okay. So we got your office priorities, of course, talent, technology, support law enforcement, decrease domestic violence, stop youth. I don't know how you do that. Good luck. I
don't want our kids to be criminals. So
I don't want them to either, but I don't know how you do that.
Well, education and saying hard things out loud.
Oh.
I can do it because I'm a mom of teenagers.
I can't even imagine what those classes would look like. Goodness. Okay, yeah. So, and down here, upcoming events. These are places you're going to be.
Yeah, that's a little old. Go down a little more.
Okay, so we got to go to the actual date we're running with here.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so we're in July. Is it? What do we got here? Yep, July 27th.
Yep.
Okay. Price, Internation, Highland Grand, Alpine Days, Midway, Swiss Day, Parowan, and Brigham City Peach Days. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Right.
That's
Yeah.
just
Hey,
people.
I really do wish you the best on this. I know,
Bless her
that,
heart.
what's that?
Bless her heart.
Oh, the person trying to stop teenage boys from doing that stuff. Yeah, that's a good luck, man. I think if you can stop kids from just being on their phone 27 hours a day,
Yeah. Yeah.
if you could make that happen, that'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
It's hard. It's hard. Like I said, I'm a mom of teenagers.
Mm. Yeah, well, and that's a struggle that we're in right now. Is we're in a new industrial revolution type situation. We're moving towards technology. We
Yeah.
just had the petrodollar deal done away with. I mean, that was the thing that replaced the gold dollar. So what's going to replace it now? Is it going to be, and here's what scares me, just for a scary moment,
Yeah.
and this would be something, if you win, to look at, is personal information going to become the new standard? Is it going to replace Bretton Woods?
Yeah.
Because that seems to be where all the money in our current economy lies, is in personal information.
Mm-hmm.
And so is that going to be the gold standard? Is a deal going to be made? Are we going to have the meta dollar, where the information is the base?
The deal.
Yeah, where all technological information is sold for, Fed dollars to be the base of our currency, which scares the crap out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Maybe it'll be a system that works.
Through the airport scanners, like, okay, guys, put your head down. We're walking through the airport exits. Yeah, exit. Airport
I'll go
exit.
get me some little Asian guy eyes, like on Minority Report. I don't know. This world right now kind of reminds me of a collage of movies. So you got some Minority Report in there.
Yeah.
But you also have Demolition Man, where they're making that ultra safe world built around you, and they're putting up guardrails for adult men,
Yep.
And one thing I didn't hit you on, so maybe we should close out on this. What's your thoughts on, I would be remiss with my listeners if I didn't ask you your thoughts on Second Amendment.
Support it. It's in the Constitution.
Okay. How far would you go to defend it in the state?
Well, let me say this. The Supreme Court just came out with the Rahimi case that overturned a Texas, that came out of Texas, that allows restrictions on temporary restrictions on gun, not ownership, but possession, for those who have protective orders for domestic violence.
Okay.
In Utah, that has always been in place.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with that type of a restriction.
Okay. I would like to see a twilight added onto there. Honestly, here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see, okay, I'm not a fan of red flag laws, but domestic violence is a different issue, because you don't want weapons on the battlefield. And in domestic violence, a house is the battlefield.
And it's set within a court order where a court has made findings.
Yeah. There's some sort of due process involved that I like to see, but I would like to see something set up where, okay, we'll call him Mr. Dumas. Mr. Dumas, you put yourself in this situation. Now, if you want to just give up your rights to own firearms, we will consignment sell your firearms for you. We'll have a consignment page, and we'll call it, instead of them calling and asking me to donate to the policeman's ball, the policeman's ball is paid for through the consignment page, right?
Okay.
Let's do it. And so his guns can be sold on consignment. We'll set up like a year out. He has a year to make that decision. But then we'll have a series of classes that they take, And within that year, they have to start off with the first class. Let's make it the cheapest, quickest one, 1 day. Because to get a divorce, I have to pay, I had to. This was 25 years ago. I had to pay $400 and go to a parenting class. So if he wants to get his guns back, and I think that the spouse should take it as well. And there should be a class set up where there's 2 joint classes that talks about domestic violence is bad and we shouldn't do it and all that stuff. But there should also be a class for the victim where they go and they learn to recognize if they need to get out and then they come to me. You're right. And I teach them how to deal with domestic violence permanently if it's needed.
Sure.
Only if it's needed. But, and I think that would be a way for them to earn their rights back. So they can't get them back quicker than a year, but they have processes to get them back. And hopefully we can make a responsible, mature individual out of them.
Sure. I think those are even more restrictive than anything in place right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
and
laid
no.
out like that.
There's no
timeline right now.
It would be more restrictive in Utah, though. When your guns are taken away for domestic violence in Utah, they're gone. That's it. If you've got a lot of money, you can probably pay for a lawyer and get that stuff taken care of. But again, that's, the 2% of the population in Utah who could openly afford to do that. So I would like to make processes because I am a firm believer in an armed nation. But I'm also a firm believer that a household should never be a place where people feel fear ever. Not kids, not spouses, not the dog. I think, if there's one place that you should strive to make a safe place for the people in your life, it should be the roof you pay for. And that's just, you should make that a policy. You don't yell, you don't become erratic. Or kids don't become that way up, I don't know. Just my opinions, wishful thinking, I guess.
Yep.
Everyone, this has been Michelle Quist. Where are you located at?
Salt Lake.
You're in Salt Lake, okay? And if you want to check her out, it's michelle4utah.com. Go check her out. You can reach out to her, send her messages, ask her questions. Donate money, request to get probably a yard sign, donate time, anything else. She's been a very pleasant conversation, and I hope to talk to her again, and I wish her the best of luck.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. And you have a wonderful night.
I certainly will. You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. We will see you guys next Friday. It'll be a full show. Holly didn't make it on tonight because she is racked out, but hopefully we can get her on next week to tell us about, what she thought of the National RNC, how that went. Did she try any good food? Did she get to shake Hulk Hogan's hand? Because that would have been way cool. Thanks for watching us, guys. Thanks for joining in with us. Thanks for the comments. Again, the usual crew is up on the range where I'm heading to now. So wish me luck. I'll get there just in time to do a couple of hot shoots and then a good night fire. So you guys have a wonderful weekend. Everyone be safe.